Hey guys, this is Chandra with Super Happy Scrapper, and today I'm going to show you how to make the spine for the album, the Anchor album that I shared on my Sunday share. And this cover, excuse me, is 10 and a quarter by 8.5, and the spine on this particular one is only 2, but on this one that I'm going to show you how to make, I am doing a different binding. So the spine is going to be 3.5. Okay, so what you need is 2 pieces of chipboard that measure 8.5 by 10 and a quarter. You're going to need the spine piece that measures 3.5 by 10 and a quarter. And then you're going to need your pieces to cover the cover. I use Tyvek, and this is a recycled FedEx envelope. And then you're going to need a sheet of just regular cardstock that measures 10 and a quarter wide. You want it to go over your spine about 1 inch. So if your spine, like mine's 3.5, I want it to be at least 5.5. I'm just going to leave it at the 8.5 inches. So what I do, this is what I do for all my covers. And if you do it differently, that's fine and dandy. So you want your Tyvek piece to be as tall or very close to your album size. This is just a little bit smaller, but it'll be all right. So I don't have my other little board, so I'm gonna have to try to remember what's on camera. So what I'm doing here is I'm applying Tyvek or tape to the back of my spine, and that's the first piece I'm going to put down. Okay, and I'm going to put that in the middle of my Tyvek sheet. And if you don't have Tyvek, you can still make it. You can use cardstock to do this part. So I attached my Tyvek, or my spine, to the middle of my Tyvek. I will get this straight. Now I'm taking one of my covers and I'm applying score tape just on one side, and then I'm going to apply it to the Tyvek piece. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply it on both sides now. It's cold here. I have my robe on because I'm cold. It's supposed to snow tonight. So I'm going to apply it to the other cover as well. All right, now I've made a shim, and all this is 2 thicknesses of chipboard, same length, same width, taped together. So now I'm just going to remove the tape backing. And I don't find you need a whole bunch of tape on here. You do need a sturdy tape, so that's why I use the Tyvek instead of the ATG gun, but you don't need to slather it down with adhesive. You're going to wrap it in paper, and it's going to be fine. So what I do is I stick my shim here, and I butt it up against the spine. Now I'm just going to take my cover, and I'm going to butt it up against the shim piece, but I'm making sure that I'm level with my spine piece. Okay, and that's all I'm doing. This way we get that little gap in our covers so that our book opens and closes properly. Whoops, a daisy. Gas was $1.87 today, this morning, and now it's like $2.27. Don't know what the deal is. So I'm lining it up again, and it looks like for some reason I have my spine piece cut just a little bit larger here than my covers, like a smidgen. So I'm just gonna chop that off if I could ever find I'm gonna making sure it's flush on both sides, and I'm gonna apply light pressure, and I don't want to chomp through it all at once, so I did a couple of strokes. Okay, so this is what your cover's gonna look like. Now what we want to do is put the shim away, and we're going to cover it with cardstock. And somebody left me a comment that Marion Smith put some stuff on her albums to protect it, and what I went back and looked, and it was matte medium. So I'm not sure that I could put matte medium on here and make it not crack. I would have to, I think it would still crack. I'm going to try it out on a smaller album and see what happens. Right now, I'm just applying ATG to the front cover of my book. I just want enough on there so that there are no bubbles in my cover piece. I'm using this Linen Closet by Die Cuts with a View. And all I'm going to do is take off the little strip here. And I'm going to make sure that I line this up over here because I want at least 1 inch to wrap around it. I mean, a ½ inch is the very minimum that you can go and still get a nice wrap. So knowing where my thing is, I'm just going to place it on there like this. And I'm just going to rub all that adhesive down. Now I'm going to slowly fold this up, and by doing it slowly, it does help prevent some of the cracking. Breaks the fibers down slowly instead of. But when you have, like I said in another video, you have this Die Cuts with a View paper that is embossed or foiled, it's kind of hard to not have it crack. Now I'm going to run my bone folder against the spine here, or not the spine, but the chipboard, to make sure that I get a good cover, I guess. I don't know. So it butts right up against it. I'm going to do that on all sides here. Alright. Now I'm going to apply score tape on the perimeter here of the actual album so that when I fold this over, it's attached nicely to the cover. And this is why I don't feel it's necessary to use score tape on the front. Then for extra, I'm going to apply it on the edge of the paper. And I'm not putting it here because we're cutting that piece off. This is the same way that I make all my covers. So you just want to make your covers at least ½ inch larger than you make your pages. So if your pages are 6 by 6, you want your covers to be 6.5 by 6.5. That's just, I always make mine ½ inch larger. So now I'm just cutting off this square that's formed from folding all corners here. And you don't want to get too close to the chipboard or else it won't wrap right. If you get a little bit too much, you can always push it in with your bone folder. So like if I wrapped this and there was a bunch hanging over, I could do this and fold it in, fold that in, and then fold it. So there we go. Some hot tea. Well, it's actually a chai tea latte, but you know, it's hot. It's cold here. I'm gonna move somewhere where it's like 68, 70 all year, except for like a couple weekends in the summer where I could go to the lake or the pool or something. I don't want too much, right? All right, so now again, I am going to fold this little piece here in, and I'm going to fold the sides down first. All right, and I'm pulling it taut. Okay. And there's the covers, and they look nice. The corners are nice. So now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do the back. sure. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is make my spine. And what I want to do is make sure, I said to make this paper 10 1/4, but it only needs to be the size of the pages. So I'm going to cut it down to 10 because my pages are 10 by 8. And my spine is 3 1/2, so I want it at 5 1/2. Now what I'm going to do is score 1 inch on each side, just so I have a reference line of where to put my first binding strips. Okay. Now my binding strips are Tyvek, and what I've done is I've cut 6 pieces at 1 inch by 10 inches. And now I'm just going to score. I'm going to get my scoreboard out because that's going to be easier. I'm going to score them all directly in half at 1 inch. So make sure it's lined up right and score all of them at 1/2 inch. And this is what's going to create our binding. So it's a little bit different than the hidden hinge or the other binding that I made. But because this Craftex is very sturdy, and once you stick it down, it seems to be stuck down. I'm going to try it this way. So they're all scored. So now I'm going to fold them. I'm going to put this aside here for a second. I'm going to fold them all in half, and I'm going to burnish on my fold because it is kind of a thicker. It's not like thicker. It's just harder to fold. So you just have to make sure you burnish it very good to get that fold stuck in there. So once I get them all folded, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick 2 pieces of score tape on one side. So one flap here. I'm going to put a piece of score tape on this side and a piece of score tape on this side. And then on the back, I'm going to stick 1 piece of score tape. And so once I get all these folded, then put the score tape on. Then we'll start attaching them to our spine. Now, what I wanted to score this piece for was so that I knew to make sure that my spines are straight. So what I'm going to do is the piece that has, the side that has 2 on it, I'm going to, first of all, let's cut the sides of the one that has 2. Whoops, did that one wrong. It doesn't much matter. So all the pieces that have 2, all the sides that have 2 pieces of score tape on it, you're going to miter those corners just so they fit inside the pockets of the pages that we've created. Okay. And now the piece that has only 1, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put it on my sheet. I'm going to line it up with that line there, making sure that my hinge is going to be straight. I'm going to do that to all of those. So now the second one, I'll just butt it up against the first one. I'm not. Let me see if I can zoom in for you for a minute. So again, let's save that. I know that one's there. Okay, so take off the tape backing, and I'm just butting it up against the piece in front of it. And that's all undoing. So this last piece, I'm not going to be able to necessarily make sure that it's level because I jacked up and cut off the angles. So this is going to be the spine now. And this is going to be the piece that I attach. So this is 3.5. So there's going to be a little gusset here and a little gusset here for your album. So there's equal amount of distance between the covers on each side. So now all I'm going to do is flip it over and I'm going to apply score tape to this back piece here. And again, it doesn't have to be a whole bunch. I'm putting one on each side of this line here. And one here. I mean, I want it to stay down, but oops, there we go. Push all my little flags down. And now I'm just filling it in with normal ATG. Take off all of the tape backing here. Okay. And I'm bringing in my cover. And I'm going to line up these white spots on my cover to the lines on my grid mat in front of me, just so I know where to line these lines up. Because I scored 3.5, so those lines should match up directly with this. And I'm making sure that I'm centering it from top to bottom. So I'm pressing down there. Now that I've applied tape in the middle, I need to go inside each of these gussets and press down as well. You want to make sure, you press down good on the tops and in the middle. Now, because this cover's got extra stuff on it, you're going to have to bend it up again. Okay. And that's all there is to making covers. Now see how I have this 1/2 inch? Here's the spine. I have this 1/2 inch gusset before the spine, and I have a 1/2 inch gusset after the spine. And all my pages will have equal amount of room. Okay. Now I tried this with 1/4 inch and it didn't work so well. Tried to make these gussets 1/4 inch like we normally do, and it didn't stay down as well, I don't think. So now I'll make the pages, and then all you need to do to cover the inside of this is cut a piece of cardstock that's 1/4 inch smaller on there, and you have the back of the cover and the front of the cover, or this could be the back and this could be the front. I kind of like that as the front. So that's how you make a cover and put your binding in. And again, this is just a simple binding, which I'm sure has been out there forever with just making little strips, but it's not coming up. So that's a good thing. Thanks for watching, guys. Watch out for part 2 of the pages. Thanks.